Hi, Greg. How are you?
Hi, Diana. Good.
So we're here with Gregg Sotiropoulos, and he was just the plenary speaker on Friday at 5 o'clock, and he talked about pave the way with soft skill, why and how. So we're going to be talking about that. So Greg, the first thing I want to ask you is, could you summarize the main points of your talk?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, I want teachers to understand that English is not just to be content learning, but we need to focus a lot on skills that students are not aware of. And some of the skills that I highlighted, soft skills, leadership skills, people skills, are communication, some of which, students are afraid to talk. They're very nervous. They're afraid of making mistakes. And we need to teach them that making mistakes are okay. It's okay to fail sometimes because you could just fail again and fail better. Another skill that I mentioned was that empathy, to understand how your students are feeling, for students to understand how each other is feeling in the classroom. And so this way, the relationship between teachers and students among other students grow closer, and we nurture this amongst one another.
So in your talk, you also talk a little bit about social responsibility.
Yes.
How could we give that message to our Colombian teachers here?
Well, basically, it's thinking outside the box and stepping outside of your comfort zone and having the students realize that, students are living in what I would like to say a bubble, and that we need to pop that bubble from the outside and they need to pop the bubble from the inside, and have them realize that their future is not just Colombia, that the world is theirs, and that the subject that will open doors worldwide is English. So they need to realize that.
Thank you. So the other thing that I want to ask you is, in terms of English language education, and this is why we're all here, you have a lot of teachers here from university, elementary levels, and high school and middle school. What is the importance for these teachers who are usually very oriented in teaching language? What is the importance for these students to learn about these topics, to these teachers? To learn about the topics that you were talking about and not focusing only on this is my English class and that's it.
It's these topics that we mentioned today during the presentation should be introduced indirectly to the students. Students are like, they're like sponges, and what happens is, because technology is helping us on the one end of education, but on the other end, it's distracting us through communication and relationships. We need to have them realize that in the classroom setting, that we have to work together to absorb the content that is being taught. And to do so, there needs to be respect, honesty, openness, understanding of one another and where they come from. And I think that's really important, in the classroom.
And finally, to close this interview, I want to ask you, what is the importance of the message on diversity? You talk about diversity in the context of the United States, right? So what is that message or big message for all teachers about that topic of diversity?
Yeah, now it's a very sticky subject, because now more than ever, the human race is being, let's say, torn apart, I would have to say, globally. And so that we have to realize that our students' differences are what make them authentic. That's what makes them unique, not their similarities. And so when we talk about our differences and they say, well, you're different and they're different, and so that makes them inferior, that makes them superior. No, that's not the case. They're all the same. We need to highlight their differences.
And embrace them.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
the power that teachers have in the classroom. That's the message that we should also
We are superheroes. We have superheroes with a lot of powers, but they don't use them in the classroom. So they need to wake up a little bit.
Because they don't believe that they have that power,
That's
right?
right?
And that's the empowerment that I also think that for us who train teachers in different schools, that's the message that we really need to provide our teachers.
Absolute trainers, teacher trainers, that is the key inner logic that they have to implement into the teachers, old and new teachers. Yeah.
Well, on behalf of TISO Colombia and Universidad de La Sabana, we really thank you for being here and for being our plenary.
Thank you very much for having me.
And we hope you come back.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.